Hey engineers, this is Mr. Hernandez here, and first I want to say welcome back to the School of Engineering. We're now in 2021, and I'm really excited to, get back into the swing of things. I hope you guys enjoyed your time off and had some good times over the holidays, as much as we can in these times. Without further ado, I want to introduce our new assignment, because I think it's going to be a good one. I think you guys are going to like it, and I really, really want to see what you guys do with it. But before we do that, I do want to mention that there are a few changes to the School of Engineering this year. So first is that the biggest change is going to be that you are going to have 2 weeks to work on each assignment. When I post this assignment on Monday, it won't be due until the following Friday. And that's to give you guys time to work on it, to ask questions, to send emails, to come to office hours if you need time. And there's also going to be times when I come into your classes in the middle of the week. That way I can see you and answer any questions there. Now, just because you have 2 weeks doesn't mean you should wait until the very last minute at the second Friday. You guys have 2 weeks so that you can get ahead of it, so you can start early, and that you have time to ask questions. So make sure you take advantage of all the benefits that gives you. And if you were struggling with assignments before, maybe this will give you some time to really shine. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at that assignment here. So in this assignment, you guys are going to be working on a freestyle CAD project. Now that means that within reason, you can make your own custom object. We're going to be working on this assignment for the next month, so you'll have plenty of time to refine this. And if you make a really great object, we might even be able to 3D print it and send it home with you. So you might actually be able to get this and take it home with you. We are going to work through the engineering design process here. So let's start with identify and research, because there are some constraints on this. And if you don't remember, a constraint is a limit engineers have to work around for their designs. Now the first and probably the most important limit is the size. Now, our 3D printers are only so big. They can only print things of a certain size and shape. Any object that you design has to fit inside of a 6-inch cube. This is really important because if it's bigger than that, it's impossible for us to 3D print, and there's just no way around that. It has to fit inside the printers. Two, there's also a material constraint. Whatever you print is going to be printed out of plastic because that's what our 3D printers work with. So if you want to design, say, a fancy robot or a camera that's going to make you look better in Zoom classes, that's really great, and you can design that. But all the electronics, all the things inside it that you need to make it work, those aren't going to be there. So you're just going to have something that looks like a robot, but it's not actually going to be a robot, if that makes sense. On that same topic, colors. If you can't print something, electronic, something that's going to move on its own, you might be thinking to make something decorative, something that's going to look nice. And one small problem with that is that the whole object will get printed out at the same time. That means that the whole thing's going to be the same color. That's okay for some things, but for other things, you might want different parts to be different colors. And so just understand, if you're going to do something like that, you're going to have to paint it afterwards. So moving on to value. This is one that's not going to really affect your grade, but it might affect whether or not it gets chosen to be 3D printed. If the object that you make is useful, if it actually does something or helps you do something, that's going to be a lot more likely to get chosen than something that just looks pretty, for example. So just consider that once you get into the brainstorm phase. And the next limitation, and I'll come back to this later, is for design. So you can use anything from the basic shapes, numbers and letters, characters, and connectors sections within Tinkercad. Those are all ones that sort of give you basic things to work with, and then you make your design yourself. There's some other cool things in Tinkercad. but some of those basically give you a complete design already, and I want to see what you guys can make, not just what's built into Tinkercad. All right, so let's take a look at what you're doing in this assignment. The first thing that you're going to need to fill in is the brainstorm section. Here, I want you to come up with at least 3 ideas that you might want to 3D model in Tinkercad. And during the brainstorm phase, we're keeping it really basic. All I'm looking for is a name for an object and a 1-sentence description. So this could be as simple as saying, okay, the name is let's keep it really simple. The name might be name tag, and the description might be, this is a tag that has my name on it, so I can put it on my luggage if we travel, or put it on my backpack. So something as simple and straightforward as that, just a name and a 1-sentence description. Doesn't need to be detailed. It might not fit all the limitations up here, but this is to help you come up with ideas of what you might make. Once you brainstorm and you have some ideas, now we need to narrow things down. So brainstorm first, come up with at least 3 ideas, then you need to pick one of those ideas. And here we're going to restate some things first. So first, just tell me what the name of that design is. So let's say you have 3 options here. Maybe you have the name tag, a robot, and a painting or a picture. And you choose the name tag. Well, you would write down name tag right here, and then continue to describe it. Now, all of these should be answered with complete sentences. So here you can go into a little bit more detail than your description. So what is the reason for this? What does this object do? Does it help you to organize like the desk organizer that we made? Is it something that you can wear like a ring or maybe a name tag? Is it just for decorating? Does it just look pretty like a piece of art? Is it something you could play with? Is it like a doll or a car or something like that? Just tell me how is this going to be used? Next, we have the most important features. So what are the things on this design that it just really needs to have, or it won't be this design? And depending on what your idea is, there could be a lot of these, there could only be a few. It just really depends on what your design is and what its purpose is. And last, why did you pick this idea? What are your reasons for making this? This one is very much on you, so I just want to see what you're thinking. I want to see that engineering thought process at work. All right, so that is our brainstorm phase, and now we can move on to starting to actually design and build this. I want to ask you guys to do something a little bit unusual here. I want you guys to actually sketch out your design on paper first. So I want you to get out a piece of paper, get out a notebook, and actually draw out your design. This is something that's really important because it's a lot easier to put pen to paper than it is to actually start 3D modeling and working in 3 dimensions. Now, I totally understand not everybody has the same art skill. Just do your best. It helps, from my personal experience as somebody who is not an artist. It helps to draw things kind of on the larger side so things don't get squished together. Use a ruler to keep your lines straight if you need to. And I do want you to do one thing, or one more thing. I want you to label the most important parts of your sketch. So think about the most important features it needs to have. Well, draw an arrow and label them. Point out, okay, this is the part that is really important and it lets it do something. It lets it fill its purpose. Moving on from the sketch, actually, once you have made your sketch, I want you to try and take a picture of it and include that picture. Possibly the easiest way is going to be to do it from a phone, and then you can add it to the document from your phone. But if you don't know how to do that, you can also take a picture with the webcam. Maybe you can even just hold up your notebook to the webcam on your laptop and take a picture like this. It's not the clearest, it's not the best option, but it works. And if you're lucky enough to have a scanner or something like that, that's even better. Um, but just do your best to give me an image of that sketch as best you can. Now, moving on from there, you're going to go into Tinkercad, you're going to use your sketch, and you are going to model or make a model of this design. Um, Once you are done making your model, I want to see screenshots from several different angles. That way I can see what's going on here, what are these features. Now, I don't know what you guys are going to make, so I don't know if the best option is from the top view and from the side view and from the other side. It just depends on what you made. So make sure that when you look at your screenshots, it looks like I can see all the important features of your design. This one's up to you. Feel free to send me an email if you're not sure if it's right, or I'll see you guys in class as well. And I just want to clarify in Tinkercad, because I said you can use basic shapes, numbers and letters, characters, and connectors. Now in Tinkercad, this is what I mean. So the basic shapes is what we've been working with so far. All of these shapes right here. There's also text and numbers. So if you were having a hard time typing things in, you can also drag and drop individual letters like this. It's easier for some things, harder for other things. Now, some features that we haven't, that I haven't taught you, but are options here, are the character section. So this gives you some options that you might use to decorate or add a little bit more flair to your designs. Maybe you can just put a mustache on your design and make it that much more interesting. It's fine by me. And also the connectors. So the connectors are kind of intended for like making your own doll, making your own like action figure that can actually move around. Probably won't be able to 3D print anything that can move, but you can use these to make interesting features. You can use them to help you out with your designs. Everything else in here is kind of a complete object like this, and so those are off limits. I want to see what you guys can do, what you guys can design using the skills we've used so far. I don't want to see you guys just, decorating with things that are already made, if that makes sense. All right, engineers. So like I said before, you guys are gonna have 2 weeks to work on this, which means you have twice as much time as usual to, ask questions, to put a lot of effort into this. The only thing I would ask of you is please don't try and do this assignment on Friday night, on the day that it's due. Make the most of the time that you have. Make a cool design. I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys make. That's all for now. Good luck with this assignment.